Schlapham.
5 most haunted forests in the world. From disembodied cries in the night to a headless statue that bleeds. Join us as we explore 5 of the most haunted forests in the world. This abandoned cemetery in Brunswick, New York is the centre of many urban legends. Established in 1897 by a group of wealthy businessmen, it was intended to be a place of respite for urban dwellers, featuring a large forest expanse and winding trails. Due to financial difficulty, the grounds went into disrepair, becoming completely abandoned by 1975. Known by locals as the Gateway to Hell, many say they've felt unusual cold spots, heard children laughing in the shadows, and felt something push them in the back. Deep in the forest there is a headless angel statue that some say bleeds from the neck during the night. A taxicab driver from the nearby town of Troy told local historian Judy Rowe that one night he picked up a young girl in a party dress out the front of the Emma Willard School. She asked to be driven down Pinewoods Avenue, but as they drove past the cemetery she vanished without a trace. Pluckley has the honour of being known as one of the most haunted villages in England. Located in the Ashford district of Kent, this town has a reported 15 ghosts that haunt various parts of the village. One such place is Daring Woods, also known as the Screaming Woods, named so because of the terrifying screams that are often heard by people passing by. A famous ghost reported to haunt the woods is that of the highwayman that was killed by police in the 18th century. Legends say that a ghostly reenactment takes place on still nights when you can see the highwayman getting pinned by a sword to a giant oak tree. His tormented screams filling the forest for all to hear. Here's an image taken by a Pluckley resident. They claim it's a ghost wandering the Screaming Woods. Located in rural Oxfordshire, this dark forest is known for many mysterious happenings. Locals have reported being touched or pushed by unknown forces. There are reports of whispers and screams and children crying, all coming from thin air. Some tourists have said they've felt nauseous the further they go into the woods. Others have heard the wild neighing of horses, and some claim to have seen a ghostly horse-drawn cart with 2 small children crying in the back. Deep in the forest is a tree that supposedly creates feelings of dread for those who visit. Thought to be a hanging tree where criminals met their end, there's been a reported shadowy figure lurking in the area. People say they feel like they're being watched or followed whenever they're near this particular tree. Locals warn all tourists not to go into the woods alone. Known as the Sea of Trees or Suicide Forest, this is one of the world's most popular destinations for suicide. Located along the northwest base of Mount Fuji, this dense forest is full of gnarled trees and rocky caverns. There is a striking lack of wildlife, making the forest floor eerily quiet. Some sections have been known to be pitch black even at midday due to thick overhanging vegetation. Hiking equipment such as compasses and some GPS have been known to spin out of control due to the high mineral content in the volcanic soil. It is here in this dark, forbidding maze that many come to die. Aokigahara has a notoriously high suicide rate and is often associated with yurei, a term Japanese mythology uses to describe angry spirits of the dead. Those visiting the park are confronted by many signs placed by the Japanese government, urging suicidal visitors to contact the local Suicide Prevention Association. Since 1970, annual body searches have been conducted to find those who've taken their own lives. Statistically, around 30 bodies are found every year, with a record high of 105 bodies found in 2003. The most common form of suicide is hanging or drug overdose. Many attribute the disturbing trend to Seicho Matsumoto's 1960 novel Kuroi Jikai or Black Sea of Trees, in which 2 lovers take their own lives in the forest. However, many cases of suicide were reported long before the novel's publication. Legends tell of a disturbing practice taking place in the forest well into the 19th century. Known as ubasute, or abandoning a parent, locals would lead their elderly parents into the woods where they would die a slow death by exposure and starvation. Practiced as a form of euthanasia in times of drought and famine, it was seen as a way to free up resources by reducing the population, though many historians doubt the ritual was ever practiced en masse. Many tourists now visit the site with hopes of encountering the paranormal or discovering human remains. Some claim they've seen faces in the shadows, while others say they've heard tormented screams of spirits left to wander the forest floor. Whatever it is they're looking for, it appears as though this ancient forest is calling out to people, drawing them in, never to return. Known as the most haunted forest in the world, this bizarre location is thought to be a gateway to another dimension. Located west of the city of Cluj-Napoca, this haunted forest is home to a whole host of paranormal sightings, including glowing orbs, disembodied crying, UFO sightings, time loss, and poltergeist attacks. Locals say that as soon as they enter the forest, they feel unusually anxious and experience feelings of nausea. Many have reported being scratched, pushed, and even choked while walking in the woods. The forest itself is deformed, with its trees bending in all sorts of unusual shapes. GPS equipment and compasses often stop working, causing many people to become disorientated. The area gained international notoriety in 1960 when biologist Alexandru Sif took several photographs of a strange object hovering in the sky. Then in 1968, military technician Emil Barnier also took some startling images of what he claims is a flying saucer. From there, dozens of UFO sightings were reported well into the 1970s. Many believe the site is a gateway to another world. Villagers often report a loss of time while walking through Hoya Basayu. One famous story surrounds a 5-year-old girl who went missing after walking into the forest. The tale says she emerged 5 years later wearing the exact same clothes in pristine condition. She had no memory of what had happened and could not account for the huge loss of time. The majority of paranormal activity seems to occur around a strange clearing deep in the forest. Known as the Dead Zone, nothing grows in this almost perfect circle. Scientists have done tests on the soil but have found no conclusive evidence as to why nothing grows here. It is in this dead zone that many people have reported strange sightings of shadowy figures, glowing orbs, felt uncontrollable emotions, and heard chilling screams or crying. It is thought that this is the site of murdered Romanian peasants, whose souls are now trapped, forced to wander eternally through the twisted forest of Hoya Basayu. Clean up on aisle 5, I seem to have soiled myself. As always, thanks heaps for watching. If you're enjoying the spooky content, hit that thumbs up button. Let's try and get this video to 1,500 likes.
And this is the shocker. Remember to subscribe.
From mysterious murders to a shadow demon that watches you while you sleep. Join us as we take a cautious peep at 11 haunted asylums that are sure to give you chills. This forbidding building was a private home before becoming a hospital during World War II. It is known to have a haunted bedroom where the spectre of a murdered servant girl begins to cry at exactly 4:30 AM. Several caretakers who have stayed in the room say they've seen the girl standing at the foot of the bed. She rants almost incoherently about a man who did something to her. Some say she was raped and murdered by the former owner's son. Now her spirit is trapped eternally looking for an escape. Located in Hong Kong, this former asylum was used by Japanese soldiers to execute enemies in World War II. There are reports of decapitated victims roaming the halls, the sound of crying, and even visions of a man catching on fire. Because of this, the Sai Ying Pun Hospital has been nicknamed the High Street Ghost House. Located in western West Virginia, this asylum housed a range of occupants, from murderers and rapists to petty offenders of substance abuse and even sufferers of depression. This odd mix of patients led to a harrowing environment of violence and abuse, leaving behind tortured souls that cry out in the night. The traumatic pain of ice pick lobotomies, rape and torture is imprinted upon this property, giving all those who visit a cold and forbidding feeling. Visitors have reported objects moving on their own, lights flickering, shadows in the distance disappearing. In Ward R is the room of a young girl named Lily that died in the asylum. They say on some cold nights you can see her waiting patiently for someone to play with her before disappearing. Are the former patients doomed to wander the echoed halls of this troubled asylum, or is it just a case of visitors projecting their fears? Considered one of the most haunted places in South Korea, the Gonjiam Psychiatric Hospital is about as creepy as it gets. After its doors inexplicably closed to the public in the mid-90s, rumours spread that patients and even staff had been mysteriously dying. Many speculated that one of the doctors at the hospital had been performing experimental procedures on unwilling patients. A formal statement was never released as to why the hospital went into foreclosure. Now the property sits overgrown and abandoned, each room paint-flecked and stained, broken glass everywhere. One urban explorer noted in their blog that sticky notes were left at an unmanned desk, one stating that the hospital should have been evacuated immediately. Locals warn all tourists to stay away from the property. They say eerie groans can be heard at night, lone figures spotted in windows. There's even one report of a visitor running out of the building covered in scratches and blood, saying that something clawed at him. Whatever's happening in Gonjiam Psychiatric Hospital, I'd suggest you think twice before visiting. This forbidding hospital in St. Augustine, Florida was built on an Indian burial ground. Now anyone who's familiar with horror movies knows it's a good idea to stay well away from ancient Indian burial grounds. It is believed that the ghosts of dead patients haunt the hospital halls, and objects have been known to move by themselves inside the building. Some visitors have said that the hospital beds inexplicably shift and slide about the room. The Royal Hope Hospital is considered to be one of the most haunted locations in Florida. This isolated and abandoned sanatorium in British Columbia, Canada is said to be haunted by a murdered nurse. Sightings of orbs have been reported by visitors, and there's even been claims of spectral voices as well as a depressing change in visitors' moods. The tunnel network below the building is where a lot of the sightings take place. One urban explorer reported being chased down a dark tunnel by a mist-like figure. As far as we can tell, the site has been marked for demolition for years. Apartments and parkland are proposed to be built on the property, but if I were you, I'd think twice before buying a house in this neighbourhood. This sprawling complex once contained some of the most dangerous and misunderstood patients on Earth. Located in rural Victoria, Australia, the asylum was built in 1864 to accommodate an apparent increase of mentally ill citizens in the Victorian colonies. Due to its isolated location, people at the time turned a blind eye to the barbaric practices taking place at the asylum. Often patients were left in tiny wooden boxes, restrained and abandoned until they were deemed calm. Over 10,000 people died in the asylum, and many ghostly apparitions have been spotted over the years. Some visitors have reported unusual pains as they walk by the men's surgery wing. Cold winds often blow out of the old facility director's office. Disembodied moans can be heard down dark hallways. There's a sense of always being watched by figures in the periphery. It's as though a deep sadness has been permanently pressed upon this property. Taunton State Hospital was built in 1854 to relieve a burgeoning demand for psychiatric treatment in Massachusetts. At one stage, it was the home of infamous female serial killer Jane Toppin, who killed over 30 people. While working as a nurse, Toppin would administer a lethal mixture of drugs to her patients. She'd then hop into bed with them and hold them close as they died. When finally arrested, she gave this chilling statement, saying that she wanted to have killed more people, helpless people, than any other man or woman who ever lived. Toppin is just one reason why Taunton State Hospital is so chilling. It is said that some of the hospital staff would force the patients into the basement and perform bizarre rituals on them, invoking demons and spirits into the halls of the asylum itself. There are reports of a shadow demon who can travel through walls to terrorize visitors. Many have said the demon watches patients sleeping at night from the corner of the room. Also known as the Athens Hospital for the Insane, this creepy building rests on the burial ground of 2,000 people. The hospital is said to be haunted by the ghost of Margaret Schilling, a patient who died in Ward 20. On December 1st, Schilling went missing, and for 42 days no one knew where she went. Then, deep in an abandoned wing of the hospital, her naked, decomposing body was found locked in an empty room, her clothes folded neatly in one corner. Schilling's body was so badly deteriorated that it left a stain on the floor. Despite hospital staff's every effort to clean the floor, a body-shaped mark was permanently etched into the ground. Some urban explorers say they've heard scratching at the door of Ward 20. Perhaps it's the spirit of Margaret Schilling trying to escape her awful fate. Built in 1935, the old Changi Hospital in Singapore was used as a torture chamber and a prison camp by Japanese secret police during World War II. Regarded as the most haunted location in Singapore, the hospital is famous for having a spirit that follows visitors around even after they've exited the building. An indie horror movie called Haunted Changi was filmed on location in the old Changi Hospital. It's a found footage, amateur-style movie that follows several students who investigate the abandoned building. While filming, the crew reported numerous paranormal happenings. They experienced unexplained noises, whispers from dark rooms, and even spotted on several occasions an old woman with what they describe as a dark aura who vanished into nothing. The crew even captured a shadow figure on film, which they kept in the final cut of the movie. Now, if you want to watch Haunted Changi, it can be a bit hard to find. In the description box below, we've put an Amazon link to where you can rent or buy it. Also known as Mayday Hills Lunatic Asylum, this rural Victorian hospital was famous for its lax rules regarding institutionalization. With only 2 signatures, a person could be committed to the institution. Almost 10,000 people died in the building, the patients often restrained and treated with electroshock therapy. Beechworth is reportedly haunted by the ghost of a young Jewish woman who was mysteriously thrown to her death from a window. Because of strict religious beliefs, her body lay decomposing on the ground for 2 days, while a rabbi came from Melbourne to officially move the body. Several visitors claim they've seen a young girl under the window where the incident happened. This photo shows the window where the young girl fell to her death. You can clearly see a white orb floating in the air above the balcony. Another traumatic tale is that of a missing patient who couldn't be found for weeks. Finally, his body was discovered because a local dog named Max was found chewing a human leg near the gatehouse at the edge of the property. A search party investigated the area only to discover the patient's body badly decomposed up a tree. The body was in such a bad state that one of the legs had actually fallen to the ground. Since then, people have reported seeing a man wandering around the gatehouse at night. This photo was taken in the Grevillea wing of the asylum. Ghost hunters Raylan Cable and Alan Tiller took this photo while investigating the grounds at Beechworth. They believe it's the spirit of a young girl kneeling on the floor. Countless other paranormal sightings have taken place at Beechworth Lunatic Asylum. Visions of doctors walking down dark hallways, screams, nurses kneeling by bedsides. One ghost hunter says a demonic voice told him to get out and leave the asylum. Is it possible that the dark history of this property is so traumatic that the souls of the employees and those committed are forced to wander the grounds forever? Well, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you're enjoying the creepy content, click this annotation right there, 10 creepy ghost photos you have to see. But if you're new to the channel, then click that there. That'll subscribe you to our channel and you'll get to see content just like this each and every week. Well, that's it for me. I'll see you all next time. Pew! From children doing emergency drills for a bombing raid to the staking of an alleged vampire's heart. Join us as we take a look at 10 real photos with creepy backstories. This unsettling photo was taken in Liverpool, England in 1941. After persistent bombing from German air forces during early phases of World War II, all UK citizens were issued with a gas mask. Rampant fear of a gas attack on Britain led many schools to run drills with their students. This photo shows young school children learning how to put on a gas mask and file hand in hand to a nearby meeting area. This is Anne Elizabeth Fowler Hodges. She is the first documented human to be hit by a verified extraterrestrial object. Known as the Sylacauga meteorite, this 5.5 kilo, which is around 12 pound space rock, fell into the living room of Hodges on the afternoon of November 30th, 1954. She lay on her couch having an afternoon snooze when the meteorite crashed through the roof of her house. It bounced off a large wooden radio, then smashed into her left hip, causing significant bruising. The event garnered worldwide media attention and soon a bitter ownership battle broke out between Hodges and her landlord as to who owned the meteorite. Offers of up to $5,000 were being made to purchase the rock. After a lengthy one-year dispute, Hodges finally settled with her landlord by paying $500 for the chunk of meteorite. But by then, public interest had diminished and buyers were no longer interested. Taken in 1895, this photo shows Horatio Gordon Robley sitting with his collection of severed heads. Known as Moko Makai, these are the preserved heads of tattooed Maori tribesmen. During the 19th century musket wars in New Zealand, violent clashes broke out between arriving Europeans and the native Maori. The war saw the severed heads of natives used as a form of currency, which could be bartered for other goods and even firearms. During the American Civil War, the Andersonville prison camp was notorious for its poor treatment of inmates. The prison was built around a swamp. Prisoners were often forced to bathe and drink water contaminated with the feces of thousands of sick and dying men. Diseases like dysentery, diarrhea and scurvy were rife throughout the camp. This photo is of a Union soldier who managed to survive the horrific conditions at the Andersonville prison camp. His emaciated figure gives insight into the appalling treatment prisoners of war had to endure. This is the mummified heart of alleged vampire August Delagrange. It is said that he was responsible for the deaths of more than 40 people in the early 1900s. In 1912, Delagrange was murdered by a Catholic priest who drove a stake into his heart. This photo, taken on August 14, 1936, shows the last public execution in the United States. A crowd of up to 20,000 people watch in anticipation. Rainey Bethea was the last prisoner in America to be publicly executed after he was found guilty of the rape and murder of 70-year-old Alicia Edwards. Although the crime itself was heinous, a media circus grew around the event because the sheriff of Davis County at the time was a woman. Her name was Florence Shoemaker Thompson. Hundreds of journalists from all over the country flocked to the town of Owensboro, Kentucky to cover what was supposed to be the first execution publicly performed by a woman. However, unbeknownst to the public, Thompson had arranged for Arthur L. Hash, a former Louisville police officer, to pull the noose's trigger. On the day of the hanging, Hash turned up drunk and right at the last minute refused to pull the rope to trigger the execution. The crowd watched on in confusion as nothing happened. Finally, a young deputy police officer leaned against the trigger that sprang the trapdoor, dropping Bethea to his death. On August 6, 1945, a US B-29 bomber dropped an atomic bomb on Hiroshima that killed 166,000 men, women and children. The blast was so intense that it left haunting impressions of the poor souls that were killed that day. This photo here shows the shadow of an elderly person with a cane permanently etched into stone. This is the elephant's foot, one of the most dangerous objects on the planet. It's a melted pile of radioactive material mixed with sand, concrete and core sealant. It's found in the basement of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. When it first formed after the 1986 nuclear disaster, anyone standing near it would have suffered irreparable damage in seconds. Within 30 seconds, a person would feel dizzy and nauseous. By 2 minutes, cells in the human body would begin to hemorrhage. 4 minutes would render a human almost helpless, suffering from vomiting, diarrhea and fever. By 5 minutes, a human standing next to the elephant's foot at the time of formation would have been exposed to a lethal dose of radiation and would have died within 2 days. This photo was taken many years after the disaster when radiation levels had dropped. Interestingly, this photo is grainy because of the radioactive fallout. This is said to be the post-mortem photo of a young girl who committed suicide by drinking her own blood. Loana Contanescu lived in a town called Timisoara in western Romania around the turn of the 19th century. She was known to practice a very old religion known as Zoroastrianism, which has roots to pre-Muslim Iran around 600 BCE. Rumours spread that Loana was a witch. In October 1909, things got out of hand when 2 local Christian preachers and their wives rallied a mob around Loana's house. They dragged her from her home and beat her with sticks and rocks. She managed to survive and was admitted to hospital. Doctors tended to her wounds and released her 2 days later. Several days after her release from hospital, Loana Contanescu was found dead. Witnesses claim her body laid at a makeshift altar. Bunches of herbs and incense scattered about the room. Strange esoteric symbols were written on the walls. A local coroner found lacerations on her ankles and wrists and pronounced her cause of death to be hemochromatosis. It's thought that she consumed several goblets of her own blood and died from a toxic amount of iron. It's hard to verify this story as there's very few historical documents referencing the life of Loana Contanescu. Some critics have noted that if that is Loana in the photo, why doesn't she have any signs of the mob beating she received just days earlier? Others have suggested that Loana managed to restore her physical appearance through the ritual imbibing of her own blood, but willingly passed through to the afterlife. From here, the story has a strange twist. The 2 preachers and their wives who rallied the mob all died within 1 year of Loana's death. The first couple were burnt alive after a fire engulfed their barn. The second couple were crushed to death by a falling tree while out for a walk. Could Loana's spirit have got vengeance from beyond this mortal realm, or is this story one big hoax? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. This photo was taken on October 12, 1960 at Tokyo's Hibiya Hall. It depicts the moment of impact during the assassination of Inajira Asanuma, the head of the Japan Socialist Party. The attacker, seen on the right, is Japanese ultra-nationalist Atoya Yamaguchi. This still image captures the moment he plunged a small sword known as a yaradoishi deep into the stomach of Asanuma. Several weeks after the incident, while being held in a juvenile detention center, Yamaguchi wrote on a mirror with some toothpaste. The words read, "7 lives for my country. Long live His Imperial Majesty the Emperor." He then hung himself from a light fixture with his bed sheets.
Well, that's it for another episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, remember to hit that big old red subscribe button because we have new videos every Monday and Thursday. Also, remember to follow us on all our socials at SlappedHam, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And that's it for me. I'll see you all next time. Pew! How you doing? I'm Callan and this is Slapped Ham. Today we're looking at demon photos. From a demon man spotted throughout Brazil to a creepy creature stalking the halls of a hospital. Join us as we take a look at 10 demon photos you just have to see.
This photo was taken sometime in the late 90s at a wedding reception in Aurora, Minnesota. The couple in the photo, Mr. and Mrs. Martinez, claim they didn't notice anything strange about the photo until 8 years after it was taken. There in the background is a strange dog-like face just above the left shoulder of Mr. Martinez. The couple said there was no dog at the reception and were baffled by the image. Mr. Martinez, who was battling drug addiction at the time, claims the photo was an omen. He took the photo as a sign to stop drug abuse, believing this was some kind of demon clinging to him. He now carries this photo around with him, reminding people of evil that can be found in this world. Photography experts examined the photo and determined that it hadn't been tampered with in any way, concluding that the dog must have been present the day the photo was taken. Whether the dog is demonic or not remains a topic of fierce debate on social media and forums today. When this photo was submitted to Reddit in 2012, the forum went into a frenzy of speculation. What's now known as the Wisconsin Trail Cam mystery, this startling image has baffled analysts for years. The shambling creature seems to be wearing tattered rags with a hood draped over its hunched shoulders. Some have noted the footprints running across the ground as if the beast is tracking them. There's been no reasonable explanation for this image. Opinions range from a demon to a zombie or even a lost soul forced to eternally wander the woods. Some have said that it's a smear on the lens of the camera or just a person with a sheet draped over them. Whatever the case may be, this is one of the most baffling demon photos ever taken. In late 2015, unusual photos began appearing in Brazil. People all over the country were reporting sightings of a strange demon-like man. Some even described the creature as a werewolf. The sightings occurred in different cities around the country all around the same time. One witness said they saw a strong-looking creature running fast along the building tops. Residents even avoided going out at night during the spate of bizarre sightings. The photo on the right was captured by a young girl who was out with her father. They said they couldn't get a video of the creature as they were too scared. The photo appears to show a figure with bent legs similar to a goat with a strong upper torso. The other photo that surfaced shows a humanoid creature with pointy ears, a hunched back and giant arms. When the photos began circulating on social media, speculation ran rife. Viewers called the creature a demon, a werewolf and even a pixie man. Others were quick to dismiss the pictures as hoax Photoshop jobs. Officials were unable to explain the string of strange sightings. There's not a lot of solid information about this photo. In the picture we see two young boys who have taken an innocent selfie, but what they accidentally caught in the photo will give you chills. Take a look at the bottom right hand corner. There appears to be a little girl or demonic doll staring menacingly at the camera. It has long black hair and a gaunt, twisted face. It's hard to verify this one as there's next to no information available. It could quite easily have been staged or photoshopped as the quality and lighting of the image is extremely low. What do you think is going on in this photo? Is it simply a fake or were these boys visited by a demonic doll? When this woman took an innocent selfie in the mirror, she couldn't have known the chilling image that would develop. Uploaded to Imager in 2016 with the caption, "Please tell me that's your shy daughter." This sinister photo whipped paranormal enthusiasts into a frenzy. Behind the woman's left shoulder is a demonic face with glowing eyes and a slight grin. The two skin tones don't match and the look in the eye of the second figure is really off-putting. The woman who took the photo has never come forward, so it's hard to verify the authenticity. It could be a very well-timed photobomb, a Photoshop job, or it could be something far more sinister. When this photo was shared to Facebook in January 2017, it set the internet alight with rumours. Allegedly, Phoenix resident Richard Christensen took this mysterious photo while walking through Tucson, Arizona. In the photo is a winged figure that looks to be at least 10 feet tall. Christensen uploaded the image to his Facebook account on New Year's Day with the caption, "What the hell do you see in this picture for reals, anybody?" The photo quickly went viral with news outlets, social media and forums all speculating on what was captured in the image. Some Christian news sites were quick to call the figure a demon and that it's the sign of the apocalypse. Others, however, are a little more cautious in their assessment of the image, saying it could quite easily be a fake, with some claiming it to be nothing more than a palm tree in the distance. Legendary debunking website Snopes.com allegedly reached out to Christensen for comment, but he declined to provide further information. What do you think? Is this a demon signalling the end of days, or is it just a viral hoax? Let us know in the comments section below. This photo was taken by a mother known only as Heather from Pennsylvania using her camera phone. It shows her son posing for a photo, but in the background there's a demonic face with black eyes peering out from behind the boy. The mother claims there was definitely no one behind her son when the photo was taken. What is going on in this picture? Was this boy visited by a demon? This photo of a demon creature lurking in a cave has been floating around the internet since the mid-90s. It's puzzled viewers for decades. With each passing year, the photo seems to pick up new details in a sort of mass game of Chinese whispers. With this in mind, it's hard to separate fact from fiction. The story goes that two boys were exploring a cave in Ras Al Khaimah, United Arab Emirates. As they went deeper into the cave, they heard the terrified screams of another person. As the cave was near pitch black, they decided to take a photo, using the flash of the camera to light up the cave for a second to see their surroundings. The flash went off, bright white light filling the cave. The two boys saw a demon-like creature clinging to the rocky wall. They ran as fast as they could out of the cave, alerting authorities about their encounter. The next day, local police searched the cave and discovered the remains of a young man partially eaten. The following week, the two boys returned to England. They contacted the local newspaper, the Bournemouth Advertiser, and told them of their ordeal. The journalist running the story checked the roll of film and discovered this image. Just like the boys described, there was a small demon creature clinging to the wall of the cave. The article attracted international attention, and since then the photo has become infamous. Experts, however, claim that the photo is a hoax, saying the creature is nothing more than a statue placed in the cave to spook tourists. Others believe the photo to be genuine, citing it as evidence of demons that live among us in caves and shadows, lurking closer than you might ever think. In 2014, two UK women took a Halloween selfie that would haunt them forever. After uploading this photo to Snapchat, Kaylee Atkinson rang her friend Victoria Greaves and told her to take a closer look at the photo they had taken earlier that evening. In the background is a demonic face staring straight at the camera. It has a strange pale complexion and an eerie grin. The picture scared both girls so much that they immediately deleted the image from their phones. The two girls were certain that no one was behind them when the photo was taken. Could these two girls have been visited by a demon? This creepy photo has been doing the social media rounds since around 2014. It's hard to verify the source of the image as it's been shared so many times it's become somewhat of a creepypasta. The most common story attached to this photo is that a nurse in a hospital took a screenshot of a security camera that was monitoring patients in the ward. She claims that she saw a demon-like figure walking up and down one particular patient's bed. It had long black legs and eerie slender fingers. When she went to the ward to check on the patient, there was no figure in the room. However, the patient's vitals began declining rapidly and the person passed away shortly after. Folklore often tells of strange sightings in hospitals, dark figures lurking in the periphery, perhaps waiting to take the souls of the recently deceased. When the photo went viral across social media, debunkers got to work analysing the image. As the quality of the original photo is low, it's hard to break the image down. One commentator thought that it's merely a series of objects compiled together on a strange angle that gives the effect of a lurking creature, while others believe the image to be genuine, saying that this could actually be evidence of a demon collecting the souls of the sick and frail.
Well, that's the end of the episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, why not hit that subscribe button? We do videos just like this each and every week. If you've been around a little while, hit that bell icon so you get notifications about all our latest content. And that's it for me. I'll see you all next time. How you doing? I'm Callan and this is Slapped Ham. Today we're talking about some truly terrifying fictional monsters. And to help us out with this list, we've teamed up with Crypt TV. They're an awesome production company that create high-quality scary films for their YouTube channel. They release videos every Tuesday, Thursday and Friday. I highly recommend you check them out. We'll have more about their channel a little later in this video, but without further ado, let's get into this list.
The Thing in the Apartment is a scary short film written and directed by John William Ross for Crypt TV. The story begins with an abrupt phone call from a girl, Lindsay, who claims something visited her in her apartment. She says that a creature appeared out of nowhere right in her room. Her friend Sam must rescue her and confront the thing that's lurking in her apartment. A key plot device used in this film is Lindsay's use of sleeping pills. It makes both Sam and the viewer question whether the monster is real, smudging the lines of reality. This makes for some great tension and jump scares as the true nature of the thing in the apartment unfolds. This is a riveting short film that'll have you questioning every little creak and bump you hear in your dark, empty house. Kinderfanger is a Pied Piper-esque tale about a monster that recruits children to do his bidding. The story begins with a young deaf girl and her family who are searching for their missing brother and son. They search a remote mountainous area hoping to find clues. Soon the young girl wanders off to explore a dark cavernous underpass. Here she happens upon the Kinderfanger performing a ritual, entrancing a number of children including her brother. The Kinderfanger is a black, skeletal figure that floats about in a puff of smoke. It uses a pipe to play music that spellbinds the children. Our protagonist, however, is immune to the musical curse and moves in to help save her brother. If you're looking for something spooky to watch, then this short film is hard to pass up. It's a fresh take on an old tale seething with mystery and adventure. Oh, and the twist at the end is a real killer. Mordio is an experimental, ultra-short film that raises more questions than it cares to answer. The clip begins with a cannibal deep in the woods feasting on the organs of another man. His meal is interrupted by the sound of a twig snapping behind him. He turns to see a scary monster watching him from afar. Bizarrely, the corpse on the ground begins to talk. He speaks of an entity known as Mordio, a strange creature that claims ownership of anyone that eats flesh in the enchanted woods. The cannibal begins to transform into a grotesque monster with antlers. He howls and feasts on the corpse, preparing for something known as the blood hunt. This doozy of a short film will leave you confused and on edge, something all great horror movies should do. I would suggest perhaps watching this one with a friend. One Please is a quirky arthouse style short film that introduces a truly chilling new monster, the Ice Cream Man. This unnerving 5-minute story depicts life in a dystopian suburban town. On the surface, everything appears normal. The sun is shining, mum's making dinner, dad's reading the paper. However, when you notice that some people are missing fingers, questions start getting raised. Suddenly, when a mysterious ice cream truck visits the town, things get even stranger. It would appear to get an ice cream you need to pay with more than just money. And we'll leave this one here as I don't want to ruin the shocking twist this little gem has to offer. I highly recommend watching this one all alone at 2 AM in a very dark room. The Sunny Family Cult is a series of short films produced by Crypt TV. They follow protagonist Taylor, the young daughter of a leader of an infamous sect known as the Sunny Family Cult. The cult, known for their unsettling masks, are hell-bent on disrupting the banality of suburban life. They've taken it upon themselves to outlay their own brand of justice on society, which means they'll murder pretty much anyone that's not part of their group. The most interesting thread in this series is the impact cult life has on Taylor. She grows increasingly violent as she strives to impress her murderous father, who has forcefully impressed this strange way of life on her. However, her character begins to question the seemingly random acts of violence and secretly yearns for a different way of life. The Sunny Family Cult is a strange and twisted ride. It's a brutal tale that hits a chilling vein when you think about some of the bloodshed caused by real cults throughout history. It just goes to show you don't need to be inhuman to be a monster. mirror takes a disconcerting look at narcissism and what it means to be self-obsessed in a digital world. The plot follows a young, self-absorbed girl who would rather take selfies than spend some time with her boyfriend. After a few posts to social media, things take a dark turn. As the girl preens herself in front of the mirror, her skin begins to change. It grows pale and a strange wound appears on her forehead. Suddenly, her reflection reaches out and pulls her into a dark mirror world. It's from here that the girl can see out into the real world. In her place is a mutilated, corpse-like monster that mimics putting on lipstick. The girl's boyfriend reacts to the noise and comes to see what's happened. From here, the creepy monster sets a trap that leads to a terrifying ending. Next time you're doing your hair in the mirror, think of this little gem and what it would be like being pulled into an alternate universe by a hacked-up corpse demon. If you yourself cannot release, then it will come to take a piece, is the chilling calling card of the Look-See, a scary monster dreamt up in the dark offices of Crypt TV. Written and directed by Landon Starmer, The Look-See is a terrifying series of short films about letting go. This eerie, well-dressed creature seems to feed on those who are dwelling on something, whether it's the loss of a loved one, obsessing over another person, or the raw memories of an ex-husband. Whatever it is, The Look-See thrives on it. The pacing and editing are what stand out with these movies. They capitalise on the fear of the unknown, taking every opportunity to spring a jump scare on the viewer whenever they can. The quick cuts and edgy sound design make for a delightfully unsettling experience. Make sure you check under your bed before watching this one. This is a very creepy short film that's best watched late at night. The Birch is a Webby Award-winning short film from Crypt TV and Bloody Cuts. It's about a bullied boy who resorts to an ancient ritual to defend himself. The result is a monster that blurs the lines between protection and danger. The tension starts high as the first shot of the film shows an unnerving, blood-covered boy with a knife. This shocking opener sets the tone for the entire film, which never quite lets you get comfortable. The Birch is an ancient being that fiercely protects the family it's loyal to. It has a violent propensity for bloodlust and will stop at nothing to satisfy its conjurer. Co-written and directed by Ben Franklin and Anthony Melton, The Birch has been seen by millions of viewers. When it was first uploaded to YouTube in mid-2017, audiences couldn't get enough of this terrifying creature. The character modelling is first class. The special effects makeup and character creation were brought to life by Cliff Wallace, best known for his work on Hellboy 2 and 28 Days Later. The editing and sound design are fantastic too. A series of mixed vignettes lead to the climax of the film that is strangely satisfying yet completely unnerving at the same time. The hellish facial expression of the monster right at the end is bound to stay with you for a while.
Now I want to give a huge shout out to Crypt TV for helping out with this list. As I mentioned at the start of the video, they produce high quality scary content each and every week. They release videos on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Fridays. I highly recommend you jump on over and check out their channel. There's some links in the description box below and a link should appear right here. Head on over, show them some love, subscribe if you like what you see as well. Oh, and one more thing I should mention. The hell was that?
Slap him.
10 ghostly photos you've never seen. From creepy little girls with teddy bears to ominous 9-foot-tall apparitions, we take a cautious peep at 10 ghostly photos you've never seen. The White Lady of Worstead Church. In 1975, Peter Berthelot took this photo of his wife Diane on a trip to Worstead Church in Norfolk, UK. The couple didn't notice the mysterious figure sitting behind Diane until a friend pointed it out after flipping through some photos some months later. The following year, the couple returned to Worstead Church where they showed the photo to Reverend Pettit, the church vicar. Reverend Pettit immediately recognised the apparition as the White Lady, a ghostly resident of the church who had been in the area for more than 100 years. Phantom of the Philippines. Little is known about this photo taken in Manila, Philippines. The two girls pictured claim that no one was around at the time the photo was taken and that it is not double exposure. Many skeptics argue the validity of this picture, while others believe it to be evidence that proves the existence of the spirit world. Ghostly girl in burning building. On the 19th of November 1995, Tony O'Reilly captured this photo of the Wen Town Hall in Shropshire burning to the ground. O'Reilly snapped the pic using a 200mm telephoto lens while standing on the other side of the street. Some locals claim that the little girl seen in the image is the ghost of Jane Cherm, a young girl who, in 1677, accidentally set fire to a thatched roof, causing many of the town's old timber houses to burn down. The Grey Lady of Hampton Court. This ghastly image was captured by Holly Hampshire on a trip to Hampton Court Palace, Surrey, UK. 12-year-old Hampshire took a succession of photos of her cousin Brooke McGee and didn't think anything of them until she reviewed the snaps the following day. Some believe the figure Hampshire captured in one photo to be that of Dame Sybil Penn, a servant at Hampton Court, who died of smallpox in 1562. Sightings of the shadowy dame began in 1829 after her tomb was moved due to renovations. Shortly after, strange sounds of someone working a spinning wheel could be heard late at night. This led to a search of the palace, where a secret chamber was discovered that housed a mysterious antique spinning wheel. The ghosts of SS Waterdown. In 1924, Captain Keith Tracy of the SS Waterdown captured this eerie photo after his crewmen reported seeing the ghostly faces of two recently deceased sailors in the waves near the ship. Crew members Michael Meehan and James Courtney were said to have been overcome by fumes and died while cleaning an oil tank some days earlier. The pair were then buried at sea, which was customary at the time. The following day, just as evening was approaching, the first mate of the ship reported seeing the faces of the deceased sailors in the waves off the port side of the ship. After returning ashore, Captain Tracy bought a camera, and next time at sea he is said to have captured this unsettling photo. The Haunted Bureau. This creepy photograph of a Queen Anne-style bureau was taken in the early 20th century. At first glance, everything appears to be normal until you notice the ghostly hand near the top of the image. The furniture dealer Montague Cooper was at a loss to explain this image. Ghostly girl with teddy bear. The young girl in this picture is Anastasia Peretz. Many years after this photo was taken, Peretz was looking through one of her old photo albums when she came across this image and noticed something very unsettling. The ghostly girl with a teddy bear opening the bedroom door behind her to get a closer look. Spectre of Newby Church. Taken in 1963 by Reverend K.F. Lord at Newby Church in North Yorkshire, this unsettling image seemingly captures an ominous 9-foot-tall hooded spectre. Some have proposed that the image may be of a 16th century monk with a white shroud over his face to hide a bad case of leprosy or some other disfigurement. Many photographic experts have studied this ghostly photo only to conclude that it's not a result of double exposure. Just take a close look at the way the figure's black cloak drapes perfectly over the altar stairs. Ghostly photobomb. In 2014, two young UK women took a Halloween selfie which later revealed a terrifying photobomber. After uploading this photo to Snapchat, Kaylee Atkinson rang her friend Victoria Greaves and told her to take a closer look at the photo they'd taken earlier that evening. The picture scared one of the girls so much that she immediately deleted the image from her phone. The two girls claimed there was no one else in the bar at the time this photograph was taken. The Pink Lady of Greencastle. This photo, taken by Guy Winters at the O'Hare Mansion in Greencastle, Indiana, appears to show the ghostly apparition of a lady looking out from one of the upstairs windows. Winters, a paranormal photographer, went to investigate after reports of paranormal activity in the abandoned house. Winter claims that the figure's image could not be seen in the window at the time the photo was taken, and only appeared once the photo was developed. An analysis of the film's negative also revealed the ghostly vision. Oh my god, someone send me trousers for I have soiled them out of terror. As always, thanks heaps for watching. Remember to give this video a thumbs up because it lets us know you're enjoying the content. Subscribe if you haven't already because we have new stuff coming out every Thursday, 3 PM Pacific Standard Time. And this is the short-term shiny wolf.
From keeping a talking anthropomorphic fish alive to scrubbing naked men in a public bathroom. Join us as we take a look at the 10 weirdest video games ever made.
Released in 1999, Seaman is a bizarre virtual pet simulator on the Sega Dreamcast. Players find themselves in a laboratory where they are responsible for several human-faced frog creatures known as Seaman. Through trial and error, you must discover how to care for these hybrid animals, find food, adjust the temperature, keep them hydrated, etc. The English version of the game is narrated by Leonard Nimoy. He plays a mentor figure that offers hints and tips as you work your way through the game. At the time of release, Seaman was considered quite innovative, as it was one of the only Dreamcast games to utilise the built-in microphone. Players can give basic voice inputs such as say the date of their birthday, and the Seaman would reply with trivia that occurred on that day in history. Seaman became the third best-selling game on Dreamcast in Japan as of 2004. It received mediocre review scores, and in 2008, Game Informer named it one of the top 10 weirdest video games of all time. Released in 2003, Katamari Damacy, which literally means clump soul, is a third-person action puzzle game oozing with quirkiness. It sees players traversing through a dreamlike landscape, snowballing objects together in an attempt to rebuild the universe. The main premise of the game is to roll a large sticky ball around, collecting any and all objects in the world and gluing them to your ever-growing orb until it's large enough to turn into a star. The game came about as a school project funded by Namco's Digital Hollywood Game Laboratory. It was created for less than $1 million and went on to become a sleeper hit in North America. It won numerous awards, including Excellence in Game Design at the 2005 Game Developers' Choice Awards. Since then, no less than 8 sequels have been released in Japan and other countries. At last, a fighting game that pits flabby, half-naked Japanese men against each other. Released on Steam in 2016, Brief Karate Foolish is a 2D fighting game with a bizarre twist. All the characters are Asian men in their underwear. Fighting styles vary from character to character, from the studious moves of the half-naked student who fights with a book, to the hard-to-beat unorthodox moves of the fitness junkie who attacks with sit-ups and stretches. The buttons are a bit strange, but once you actually find the keys used to control, it plays much like other fighting games. It's all about light attacks, heavy attacks, ducking, jumping, and dirty shin kicks. It's free to play on Steam. Check it out if you need distracting one lazy afternoon. From half-naked sweaty men to Michael Jackson. Released for Sega Genesis in 1990, this very odd video game was based on the 1988 film Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. The level design features scenes from the movie, while the music draws on Jackson's rich back catalogue, redone in 16-bit glory. The aim of the game is to take out a villain known as Mr. Big. As you progress through the game, you're tasked with rescuing children trapped in cupboards. In hindsight, probably not the best gameplay mechanic to feature. Jackson has a bevy of attacks in his arsenal. He can kick, moonwalk, turn into a robot, throw hats, as well as use a special ability that makes all enemies perform a choreographed dance routine. The game received mixed reviews, some good, some bad. Mega Magazine ranked Michael Jackson's Moonwalker 91 on their best Mega Drive games of all time. Remember legendary 90s NBA star Shaquille O'Neal? Well, for some reason he made a shoddy 2D fighting game called Shaq Fu. Released in 1994 for Genesis and SNES, this bizarre game follows Shaq as he travels to Tokyo, Japan for a charity basketball game. On his way, he enters a dojo and speaks to a martial arts master called Liu Tzu. Inexplicably, Shaq is transported to another dimension where he must rescue a boy from the evil clutches of an Egyptian mummy. Shaq Fu is often considered one of the worst video games of all time. A sequel has been in the works since 2014. Speaking of blatant cash grabs from former NBA All-Stars, Michael Jordan also got in on the action in the same year. Published by EA in 1994 for SNES, Michael Jordan Chaos in the Windy City follows Jordan similarly as he heads to a charity basketball game. Instead of being transported to another dimension, the legendary basketballer is pitted against a mad scientist, Maximus Cranium, who has kidnapped the rest of the All-Star team. Gameplay is on par with other side-scrollers released around the same time. The aim of the game is to collect keys hidden around tediously designed levels to free your captive teammates. Jordan can jump and throw basketballs at enemies. Some balls have special attributes like ice, fire and bomb, for example. As if the NBA licensing wasn't enough, there's also some choice product placements scattered throughout the game. Created in 2013, Mond Cards is a short story-based game that makes you question your sanity. It was produced by an indie developer by the name of Ryan Melmoth, who also created a Flappy Bird remake called Delirious Bird. At the beginning of the game, you're confronted by three strange characters: an eyeless bald man, a psychedelic elephant creature with spinning rainbow eyes, and a lizard man sporting a hot pink jockstrap. They challenge you to a game called Mond Cards. As you play, it becomes apparent that the rules to the game don't make sense, and that you'll soon be eternally in debt to this strange eyeless man. If you've got a spare 25 minutes and fancy losing your marbles one sunny afternoon, you can find a link to the game in the description box below. A perennial favourite on YouTube Let's Plays, Goat Simulator is a third-person sandbox chaos simulator. The game came about as a joke during a game jam in early 2014. The devs put it together as a dare, and after releasing some alpha footage on YouTube, found they had a brewing hit on their hands. Players loved it so much, the creators were forced to build a fully fledged game that could be officially released to the public. The game's premise is simple: take control of a goat and cause as much mayhem as you possibly can. The creators have likened Goat Simulator to a skateboarding game, and as such features a scoring system that rewards players for performing tricks and stunts. So if you like goats and goat-related chaos, then this game is well worth a play. And if you don't like goats, then I'm not entirely sure what's wrong with you. Ever wanted to be the only human to attend a prestigious school for birds? Well, now you can with Hatoful Boyfriend. Originally released in Japan in 2011 as an interactive visual novel, it was remade in 2014 for Windows, PS4 and PS Vita. The protagonist of the game is a teenage human girl who is invited to a well-to-do bird-only school. She lives in a cave in the wilderness and before long finds herself amongst a complex avian community full of love and intrigue. That's right, at its core, Hatoful Boyfriend is a bizarre dating sim. Players must interact with various birds and make choices that will change the course of the game and what love affairs play out. As the plot branches, players can enjoy up to 14 different endings based on the choices they've made throughout the game. So if you've ever wondered what it might be like to date a pigeon, then wonder no more. Hatoful Boyfriend will have you hooting and pecking and flapping your wings in a marvellous display of courtship in no time. Created in 2015 by eccentric indie developer Robert Yang, Rinse and Repeat is a first-person bathing simulator. Touted as the most technologically advanced male shower simulator in the history of video games, players take control of a fellow bather. You're tasked with washing anonymous men, moving the mouse up and down over their wet bodies in an effort to please them. According to Yang, the game is about feeling out of place and vulnerable as a male in public showers. For a game about washing naked men, a surprising amount of thought has gone into it, from the custom-engineered water shaders to its core ethos. This is a hilarious game and it's designed to be taken with a grain of salt. Whether you're repulsed or intrigued, this shower sim will get a rise out of you one way or another.
Well, that's the end of the episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, then why not hit subscribe? If you're a regular, make sure that bell button's clicked so you get all our channel updates. And that's it from me. I'll see you all next time. Pew! From a woman mauled to death by a pet tiger to a man torn apart and eaten by lizards and spiders. Join us as we take a peep at 10 pets that have killed their owners.
In 2006, a 52-year-old woman was mauled to death by a 500-pound Bengal tiger in Pine County, Minnesota. Authorities were called to the property after Cynthia Lee Gamble's body was discovered by a man who arrived at the property to perform a controlled burn. Gamble was a writer and editor of wildlife documentaries and had previously trained animals for films such as Vertical Limit, released in 2000. A veterinarian had to destroy the very agitated animal at the scene before authorities could gain access to Gamble's remains. In 2004, Al Abel was bitten and killed by his pet lion Simba on his Illinois farm he ran with his wife. The 52-year-old man was attacked while cleaning the large cat's enclosure after failing to secure the animal inside its holding pen. It was the first time Abel had attempted to clean the enclosure without the help of his wife Kathy, who was running errands at the time. Abel was not officially qualified to care for the animal, as Kathy was the only one who held a license to keep big cats. Official reports concluded that Abel was in poor health and was suffering from forgetfulness prior to the incident. When the police arrived on the scene, they found the lion pacing aggressively and were unable to reach the suspected location of Mr. Abel. The lion was shot with an AK-47 and Abel's body was soon discovered shortly afterwards. In 2009, 37-year-old Kellyanne Waltz was mauled to death by a 350-pound pet black bear. Waltz was cleaning the interior of the bear's enclosure when it attacked. Her children witnessed the incident and summoned their neighbour Scott Costoni for help, who shot the bear while it was still on top of Waltz. Waltz's husband was licensed to keep the bear along with lions, tigers and other dangerous animals, but had let his permits lapse prior to the attack. In 2007, exotic pet owner Pam Weaver was crushed to death by her pet camel. Weaver's husband had bought the 330-pound present for his wife's 60th birthday. Camel expert Chris Hill told reports that the camel's behaviour was most likely sexual. He believed that the camel, who had previously exhibited strange behaviour by trying to mount the family's pet goat, was most likely trying to mate with Weaver and accidentally trampled her to death. In 2010, Corey Byrne became the first person in the United States to be killed by a boa constrictor, despite his family warning him of the dangers of owning such a pet. Byrne, who had the snake around his neck at the time, was showing it to his roommate's girlfriend when it strangled him to death. In 2013, 10-year-old Aidan Pankey was rushed to hospital after complaining of severe stomach pains. He died hours later from a bacterial infection commonly known as rat bite fever. Aidan's grandmother had recently given him a rat that he named Alex to provide companionship for a pet rat he'd already owned. The rat was purchased from pet store Petco and was in the possession of the boy for about 2 weeks before he became ill and passed away. In 2004, an unidentified woman died after being bitten by her pet pit viper. The 44-year-old woman drove herself to hospital after she received the bite, but died sometime after being administered. Police broke down her front door and, along with Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Garden specialists, began searching the house. Inside, they found at least 9 poisonous snakes still contained in their enclosures, along with several large lizards and 2 alligators free roaming around the house. In 2009, Sandra Herold's pet chimpanzee Travis mauled her friend Carla Nash, leaving her with horrific wounds. Travis went berserk after stealing Herold's keys and escaping the house. When Herold called her friend Nash to come over and help catch the chimp, Travis attacked Nash after seeing her hold one of his favourite toys, tearing off her nose, lips and both hands. Herold called the authorities, who initially thought it was a joke, until they heard her screaming, "He's eating her."
What's the problem?
Police! Send the police!
What's the problem there?
The chimp killed my friend!
Is the monkey still by your friend, or can you get close to your friend?
He's eating her. Please. God, no, please.
Okay, I need you to calm down for me. I know it's hard, okay? I know it's hard.
The police arrived on the scene and shot Travis several times. He retreated to the house and was found dead a short time later. A toxicology report confirmed Herold's statement that she had given the chimp Xanax-laced tea prior to the attack. Xanax, which is commonly given to humans for anxiety and panic disorders, has occasionally been known to cause paradoxical symptoms of hallucinations, rage, and mania. Doctors were able to save Nash's life and managed to reattach her jaw, so while she didn't technically die, she was left permanently blind from the ordeal. This wasn't the first incident involving the chimp either. In 2003, Travis escaped from Herold's car and chased a man who threw something through the open window that hit the chimp. When police arrived, they managed to coax Travis back into the car after he chased and threatened several officers. In 2004, Mark Vogel was found dead in his apartment after neighbours alerted authorities of a bad smell coming from his apartment. The scene they discovered was described by authorities as a horror movie. Vogel's corpse was found draped over the sofa and covered in spiders' webs. He had spiders coming out of his nose and mouth, while his body had large chunks of flesh ripped off by lizards he also kept. The chunks of flesh were found in the webs of several tarantulas and bird-eating spiders nesting throughout the house. It was thought that Vogel's pet black widow spider Bettina had bitten and killed him after the heating systems on the spider's enclosures had malfunctioned, opening the lids and setting the creepy critters free to roam the apartment. In 2009, 2-year-old Cheyenne was found dead in her cot after her mother's pet albino Burmese python had escaped its tank and strangled her to death. Cheyenne was discovered in her cot with the snake tightly wrapped around her with its fangs embedded in her forehead. The 8-foot 6-inch snake had escaped its enclosure at least 5 times in the 4 weeks prior to the incident. Investigators said that the python had not been fed for over a month and was severely underweight. The snake's owner, Jaren Hare, and her partner Charles Darnell were sentenced to 12 years in prison after they were convicted of third-degree murder, manslaughter, and child neglect.
Well, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you're enjoying our content, remember to hit that thumbs up button in appreciation. It really helps us out. Now, after this video goes live, I'll be sitting in the comment section below for 1 hour answering all your questions. Now, I have a question for you lot. What would you rather? Would you rather have a snake twist around and strangle you to death, sinking its fangs in your forehead? Or would you rather a family of spiders nesting in the skull and nose and ears of the corpse that you've left behind? Let us know in the comment section below and we'll chat about it. See ya! Pew! From a UFO in the night sky to children lost deep in the woods. Join us as we take a look at 12 creepy trail cam photos you need to see.
When Mississippi couple, the Shaddles, checked their trail camera for signs of game, they were shocked at what they saw. Taken in February 2014, a number of unsettling images were captured on the family's hunting camera. Over a span of 40 minutes, a series of strange objects appeared on the horizon. They gradually got brighter and brighter until this image was captured. It shows what looks like headlights, but they're clearly hovering in the air. The camera shoots in infrared, but inexplicably the deer is lit up. Some internet commentators have offered the theory that it's the deer's eyes illuminating into the camera, creating a strange effect with the light. However, when the image is adjusted, it shows that the deer is looking away from the camera. A CNN reporter went to investigate the site where the footage was taken. There are no roads or clear explanation for the hovering lights. The farmer thought it may have been a government drone, but other than that, he is dumbfounded by the event. When this photo was captured by a trail camera in early 2013, the internet was abuzz with theories. The strange hairless creature surely is mysterious. Many thought it was proof of El Chupacabra, a beast from American folklore that sucks the blood from helpless animals. Others thought it was a mutated hybrid animal that had never been seen before. Then there's the more grounded opinions that this is simply a coyote suffering from mange. Whatever the case may be, it makes for a fascinating image. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. In the summer of 2011, a homeowner in northern Georgia was noticing strange lights coming from the woods at the rear of his property. After alerting authorities, he was advised that it may be illegal raccoon hunters that had been spotted in the area. Frustrated, the homeowner placed several trail cameras around the property to catch the intruders. After reviewing some of the photos, the owner was stunned at what he saw. This photo shows some kind of glowing figure wandering through the woods. It has an outstretched hand holding a stick or wand. It looks as though a trail of light is emanating from the back of the humanoid figure. The trees are reflecting the light as well. Some say this is a doomed spirit forced to wander the woods. Others think it's a fairy or entity from another dimension. Whatever the case may be, there is yet to be a plausible scientific explanation for this image. There's not a lot of solid information on where this photo was taken. It shows a hooded figure carrying a scythe in the middle of the forest. His hand looks eerily skeletal and his face is blurred white. Many have said that this is the Grim Reaper himself looking for souls to take to the afterlife. This photo could have easily been staged. The owner of the camera or someone who knew about the camera's location could have dressed up and posed for the photo. If that's the case, kudos to the outfit. It's made for a very chilling image. And if it's not the case and it's Death himself, well then I may have just peed a little. This photo, taken in August 2012, shows a strange figure in the middle of the woods. The camera, which is motion activated, captures images in infrared, so there's no lighting to scare game away. The hunter that owns the camera said it was placed 5 miles from the nearest house and 10 miles from the nearest town. But there, close to midnight, is a robed person kneeling down in the middle of the forest. Some theories suggest it's a member of the occult practicing Wicca alone in the woods. Others have noted that it almost looks like the person is eating something while they're kneeling on the ground, which has led some to think that this is a zombie. Again, this could have easily have been staged. What do you think this is? Why would anyone be wandering the woods late at night miles from the nearest town? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. This probably isn't the kind of big buck you want to see on your trail camera. A half-naked dude with a bulbous belly button roaming your property. This image that surfaced in 2014 is allegedly a heat signature of a bizarre animal captured by a geologist working in a New Mexico oil field. Many claim this monster to be a skinwalker, a mythical creature from Native American legend that has the ability to shapeshift into any animal it chooses. Others believe it to be a hoax, claiming it's a still from a little-known 1980s science fiction film. What do you think, hoax or proof that a skinwalker is prowling the oil fields of New Mexico? There is next to no information available about this photo, which leads me to think it's a hoax. It's a deer lit up by an infrared hunting camera, but in the background is a chilling image of a spectral figure rising out of the brush. It looks as though it's screaming in agony. I'll put this one down as most likely a Photoshop job, but if you have any information on this photo, please let us know in the comments section below. This photo has been doing the internet rounds for a few years now. Captured in 2009, it shows a young boy wandering through the woods late at night. He looks entranced with glowing wide eyes. From his posture, it looks as though he's shuffling awkwardly, possibly injured. What is this kid doing all alone in the middle of the forest? Is he sleepwalking, or is it something far more sinister? Maybe it's a zombie or wayward spirit. If this is a ghost captured on film, it has incredible detail that's normally missing in paranormal photos. Or more sensibly, it could just be the neighbour's boy playing tricks. It would appear the slew of clown sightings across North America may have started earlier than first thought. On August 30, 2009, this trail camera detected movement mid-morning and started capturing images. When the owner reviewed the picture, he was shocked to discover a clown had been roaming his property. The camera was placed in the middle of the woods miles from the nearest town. Why would a fully dressed clown be stalking the woods that early in the morning? Even if it was some local playing tricks on the hunter, it still means they were dressed as a clown deep in the woods. That on its own is creepy enough. This unsettling trail camera picture shows a little girl lost in the middle of the woods. In the foreground, a large, well-horned buck stares ominously at the camera. A doe, strangely unafraid, is looking straight at the young girl. It's odd that they're all standing so close to one another. Normally deer are easily startled and will never stand that close to humans. The girl looks barefoot and dazed. Unfortunately, there's no solid information about this picture. There is a chance this camera is set up near a campsite and the girl may have just been curious about the animals. But still, it's scary enough for a girl that young to be so close to a buck of that size in the middle of the night. What do you think is happening in this picture? Let us know in the comments section below. When this photo was submitted to Reddit in 2012, the forum went into a frenzy of speculation. What's now known as the Wisconsin trail cam mystery, this startling image has baffled analysts for years. The shambling creature seems to be wearing tattered rags with a hood draped over its hunched shoulders. Some have noted the footprints running across the ground as if the beast is tracking them. There's been no reasonable explanation for this image. Opinions range from a Wendigo to a zombie or even a lost soul forced to eternally wander the woods. Some have said that it's a smear on the lens of the camera or just a person with a sheet draped over them. Whatever the case may be, this is one of the most baffling trail cam pictures ever taken.
So what do you think these trail cams have captured? Is it all a big hoax or something far more sinister? Let us know in the comment section below and we'll have a good chat about it. And that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all next time. Pew! From a strange sea creature that washed ashore after a storm to a ghost crawling across the carpet, we count 10 mysterious photos that shouldn't exist.
The little girl that can be seen crying in the bottom right hand corner of this photo refused to have her picture taken with the other girls. When her mother asked why, she said, "Because the little boy is scaring me." Her mother didn't think anything of it until she saw the photo. Take a look next to the legs of the girl in the striped top. You can see what appears to be a ghostly face of a small boy peering through the gap. Discovered in 2007, this strangely shaped skull was reported to have been found on a small island by Danish contractors repairing old sewage pipes. The workers allegedly claimed that they discovered it while digging up pipes under an old butcher's shop. Scientists were baffled by the skull. Carbon dating determined that it was around 800 years old. After the skull's discovery, rumours began circulating that the island was once home to a secret society of writers. The group, known as the Order of Pegasus Light, was said to include William Shakespeare, H.G. Wells and Thomas Jefferson. They were allegedly sworn to protect a collection of extraterrestrial artifacts that included a skull from an alien that visited Earth from the constellation of Pegasus. This snake-like creature was reportedly found on a secluded beach in the Philippines. Thought to have washed ashore during Typhoon Haiyan, initial estimations on the length of the beast were somewhere around 40 feet or around 12.2 meters. Although there is very little information available, it's possible that the creature seen in this photo might be a species of deep-sea animal that is yet to be classified. What do you think? A snake-like deep-sea serpent or a well-orchestrated hoax? This strange object was supposedly spotted using Google Earth. The poster claimed that the image is from an area in the South Sandwich Islands off the coast of Argentina. The photo, that looks to show a large metallic object buried beneath a layer of thick ice sheets, had the internet speculating that it could be proof of an extraterrestrial spacecraft. Could this be a UFO that crash landed on Earth, or is it just a clever Photoshop job? The man shown in this photo is Li Qingyun, a Chinese herbalist and martial artist thought by many to be the oldest person to have ever lived. Li, who passed away in 1933, claims he was actually born in 1736, which would have made him 197 years old. There are even disputed records that list his birthday even earlier, way back in 1677. If they're true, Li would have actually been 256 when he died. However, the oldest confirmed human to have ever lived was French woman Jeanne Calment, who died in 1997. Calment, who was born in 1875, lived to the ripe age of 122 years and 164 days. If the stories of Li Qingyun are true, he would have outlived Calment by at least 75 years. In 2013, a Japanese news site posted this photo of what appears to be some sort of giant worm-like creature found in Cambodia. In the background, hundreds of bemused onlookers can be seen watching on as the unidentified beast is lifted into the air. Some have speculated that the animal seen in this picture could actually be a beached whale. However, the creature doesn't seem to have any fins and the body looks elongated like that of an eel. Could it simply be a whale, or is it something else entirely? Supposedly discovered in Africa in 2011, this skull is reported to be up to 14 million years old. Its features appear to be somewhat humanoid, however it doesn't match any other specimen on record. If the age of the skull is accurate, it would predate the oldest discovered remains of an anatomically modern man by around 13.7 million years. The skull has reportedly been tested at 25 major universities, including Coney Island University in New York, and it's said to contain large amounts of iridium, a common substance found in meteorites. Is this the skull of an undiscovered species that once roamed the Earth? Could it be of extraterrestrial origin? What do you think? Let us know in the comments section below. This photo, taken in the late 1800s, shows a girl with an orthopedic ailment known as congenital genu recurvatum. The knees of one who suffers from this condition actually bend backwards, and many find it easier to walk on all fours rather than upright. Although the condition is rare, cases have been reported as far back as the early 19th century. The girl seen in this photo is Ella Harper. Known as the Camel Girl, Harper was the star of W.H. Harris's Nickel Plate Circus and earned $200 a week, very good money at the time. Harper is said to have married a man named Robert L. Savely in 1905, and the two had a daughter named Mabel. It's not known if she also had the condition. In 1994, residents of the small town of Oakville, Washington got a nasty surprise when blobs started raining from the sky. The blobs, pictured here, continued to fall from the sky for 3 weeks, making all who came in contact with them ill. Samples were sent to a lab for investigation, and it was discovered that the gelatinous goo contained human white blood cells. To this day, no one knows what the blobs were, but some have speculated that they may have been waste from a plane or some sort of classified military experiment. This photograph was reportedly taken by a man who wanted to get a happy snap of his daughter playing with her toys in the lounge room. When the photo was developed, the man could barely believe what he saw. In front of his daughter is a ghostly figure crawling across the floor. What do you think, a glitch in the film or evidence of the afterlife?
Holy moly, I need fresh pantaloons after that one. Well, thanks heaps for watching. If you're new to the channel, why not hit that subscribe button, because we do stuff like this each and every week. If you've been around a little while, make sure you tick that bell icon to get all our latest updates. And that's it for me. I'll see you all next time. Pew!
Slap ham.
10 eerie photos that'll send shivers down your spine. From a photo of a mysterious blood-red river in the heart of China to a picture of a baby in a cage hanging out a window, we take a peek at 10 eerie photos that'll send shivers down your spine. When a photographer decided to take this pic of a wedding ceremony from a nearby rooftop, he didn't realise he'd captured something far more sinister. In the building behind, 12 eerie hooded figures can clearly be seen lined up along the first floor balcony. When the photo was released, internet speculation ran rife as to the identity of the mysterious figures and what it was they were doing there. Were they secretly overseeing the wedding, or did the photographer unknowingly capture some sort of bizarre ritual? Turns out the figures were actually part of an art exhibition by Dawn Dudot entitled The Goddess Fortuna and Her Dunces. So not so sinister as first thought, but still makes for a very eerie photo. In July 2014, villagers in Qinmeichu village in Zhejiang, China, awoke to discover the river that runs through the town had turned blood red. Some thought it may be a spiritual sign, perhaps signalling the end of the world, while others believed the eerie colouring was the result of illegal dumping by a food colouring factory upstream. The actual cause of the blood red river was never confirmed. This heartbreaking photo shows the graves of a Protestant man and his Catholic wife. Colonel J.W.C. Van Gorkum married Lady J.C.P.H. Van Afferdin in 1842, and the couple went on to spend 38 years together. When the colonel passed away in 1880, he was buried in the Protestant area of the cemetery. His wife lived for 8 more years and decided before her passing, rather than being buried in her family's plot, she would prefer her final resting place to be as close to her husband as possible. Because she was Catholic, the closest place she could be buried was against the wall that divides the two religions. Their headstones were built tall enough to allow the couple to hold hands eternally. London mums of the 1930s had a novel way of creating additional space in their city apartments, allowing their precious little bub to get some fresh air. This photo is of a baby cage, a short-lived invention that was essentially a wire fence that was attached to an open window, dangling precariously several stories above the busy streets below. This photo, taken at dusk on a sheep station in Western Australia, shows hundreds of sheep approaching the fence for their nightly feed. The flash is reflected in the eyes of the zombie-like animals, creating this strangely unnerving image. In 2010, the town of Sindh, Pakistan received more than 10 years of rain in 1 week, causing widespread flooding of the surrounding farmland. As a result, millions of spiders ascended into the few trees high enough to avoid the rising waters. There are so many spiders in the trees that their combined webs make the trees themselves look like cotton candy. The person who captured this image was UK aid worker Russell Watkins, who noted that if you stood under one of these trees, dozens of small, very, very tiny little spiders would be dropping down onto your head. This photo of a creepy big-mouthed clown posing with a small girl is unsettling to say the least. The origin of the pic is uncertain, but one thing is for sure, that the little girl is trying her best not to look understandably terrified. This unsettling photo, supposedly of a goat man, was taken by Mark Hunter while walking in the forest behind his house. Hunter, who captured the freaky image on a GoPro, said, "I was about to take aim, but he sort of batted at me, and then he stood up and it was a stark naked man with a long neck and a goat head." Hunter said he thought the creature may have just been a man wearing a severed goat's head as a mask, but after reviewing the footage was convinced what he saw was real. This otherworldly image was captured from the viewing platform on the tallest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, UAE. The Burj Khalifa stands a staggering 829.8 meters tall, which is around 2,722 feet from the ground to the tip, and is so tall that it's possible to take a photo looking down at the surrounding rooftops as they pierce the thick cloud cover. The sheer height of the Burj Khalifa creates this eerie illusion that a city in the clouds is sprawled right out in front of your eyes. This horrifying image is the last thing you want to see aboard a plane either taking off or landing. A mid-air collision between a flock of birds and a plane is what's commonly known in the aviation industry as a bird strike, and it is a relatively frequent occurrence. Luckily, very few bird strikes end in disaster, except for the birds, that is, who are often squashed against the side of the plane or sucked into the engines. Fascinating, fascinating! As always, thanks heaps for watching. If you're enjoying this sort of content, hit that thumbs up button. Let's try and get this video to 1,000 likes. Let us know in the comments section below which photo was your favourite. And this is the Slapperm shining off.
From a cursed 1930s Disney cartoon to a Japanese commercial that allegedly killed an entire film crew. Join us as we take a terrified look at 5 cursed YouTube videos.
This video is a collage of disturbing imagery coupled with an unnerving soundtrack. It's been uploaded many times over different YouTube channels. It's said to house the spirit of a young girl named Sarah Black. Supposedly born in Ireland, Black was an occultist that could communicate with other worlds. She died after a ritual went horribly wrong. Her spirit is said to have imparted into this video. It is said that anyone who presses play is doomed and will die a slow and painful death, and it all starts with a simple headache. So this urban legend began as a creepypasta called suicidemouse.avi. Many thought the cursed video didn't exist until it surfaced on YouTube in 2012. The episode shows Mickey walking down a city street looped over. It has a really unsettling soundtrack. It's an out-of-tune piano played in an awful way that gives off a sense of dread, like something bad is about to happen. Poor Mickey walks the streets with a solemn look on his face, far from his usual cheery self. Progressively, the visuals become more and more erratic. The film begins to look like it's burning in the projector. Soon a woman's screams can be heard. As the screaming gets louder, Mickey seems to revel in the chaos as a smile cracks on his face. Eventually, a Russian phrase is displayed on screen that roughly translates as, "The sights of hell bring its viewers back in." The story goes that this is a long-lost episode of Mickey Mouse from the 1930s. When it was first discovered, an editor was assigned to review the footage. They say after watching it just once, it became so maddening for the man that he ran out of the studio yelling, "Real suffering is not known." He assaulted a nearby security guard, grabbed his gun, and shot himself in the face. Since then, viewers have reported feelings of dread and anxiety. Some say they've had panic attacks soon after watching the video. Others claim they've had suicidal thoughts. This extremely disturbing video has been floating around the depths of the internet for a few years. It is said that a deranged woman created the video. Anyone who broke her heart would be tortured. She would keep her victims captive, documenting their descent into madness. Each murder added one by one to this video compilation. It is said that ruthless experiments were carried out on her victims, the poor souls left in agony for weeks before dying. This Japanese Kleenex commercial is said to be cursed. It shows a young woman sitting on straw next to a baby dressed as a Japanese ogre. The ominous song "It's a Fine Day" by Jane and Barton plays in the background.
It's a fine day, people open windows, they leave their houses just for a short while.
Allegedly, the film crew who made this commercial all died in strange circumstances. Sure, the ad is off-putting, but nothing extreme. However, things go a little strange when you watch the commercial at exactly midnight. People say it becomes distorted and crashes the YouTube player. YouTuber Shrouded Hand claims that an anonymous viewer sent him this recording. Firstly, the viewer watches the video prior to midnight and all is normal. Then they wait till exactly midnight and hit play. The commercial plays as normal for a few seconds before some kind of interference seems to set in. The audio slows down and visual glitches flicker on the screen. A set of eerie black eyes are shown before the player crashes altogether. Shrouded Hand has said that when they first received the file, all power was cut to the house as soon as they finished watching the video. Even the laptop, which would normally turn to battery power, turned off. What do you think? Is this video really cursed, or is it just a series of well set up hoaxes? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Allegedly, this video titled WPKEPKW inexplicably disappears from YouTube's search results. Sometimes it appears, sometimes it doesn't. Word has spread around the internet that the video is cursed. Some say it's of a person right before they die. Others say it's a government mind control video gone horribly wrong. The video shows what appears to be a blurred out face. Some distorted sounds vibrate throughout, giving the viewer a sense of unease. People who watch it say they experience mood swings, anxiety and depression. Some even claim they've become suicidal after watching the video. Viewers have reported that the video stays with them. Images of the video flash up on their computers and phones while browsing the internet. One such experience was documented by a YouTube channel called IE Wire. It began when a friend told them about the supposed cursed YouTube video. After watching it, they experienced some side effects. The image kept appearing on their computer. As they became increasingly frightened, the image would flash on screen. They became so shaken with anxiety that they were forced to delete all traces of the video and never searched for it ever again.
Well, that's it for another episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, remember to hit that thumbs up button. Also, remember to follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram @SlappedHam for daily snippets of ham. And that's it for me. I'll see you all next time. Pew!
Slapped ham.
10 paranormal sightings caught on camera. From a possible skunk ape sighting to an Area 51 interview with an alien, join us as we take a cautious peep at 10 paranormal sightings caught on camera. And today we have very special guest, Countdown King Danger Dolan, to help us out with the list.
Ghost scares dog. In 2008, a man began experiencing some strange things going on in his house. Every day after coming home from work, he noticed that the door to his attic had been opened. He decided to set up a camera in his living room to see what was going on. First, his radio plays some eerie noises as it picks up interference. A few moments later, a cupboard door begins opening and closing by itself. Then a roll of kitchen paper flies off the coffee table. The men's dogs begin looking off camera, clearly unsettled by what's going on.
In 2015, a floating city appeared in Foshan in the Guangdong province of China. Thousands of eyewitnesses saw this phenomena hovering in the sky. The footage was so striking it even made the Chinese news. After the video went viral, many theories began to spring up. Some say it's part of a top-secret operation called Project Bluebeam, a NASA-funded initiative. The technology can reportedly project holograms which could be used to stage alien invasions or visions of religious figures. Others have speculated that it's a door to an alternate reality that opened up for a period of time, allowing stunned onlookers to have a glimpse into another world. This isn't the first time this has happened either. This footage was taken in 2011 in Huangshan City in China's eastern Anhui province. The footage is even more vivid than the first, clearly showing a detailed city floating in the clouds. Scientists and other level-headed folk waded into the discussion, claiming that the phenomena is an optical illusion known as Fata Morgana. This complex mirage occurs when light is distorted through air layers of different temperatures. This does seem like a plausible explanation, however Fata Morgana normally occurs at a clear horizon point in polar regions, at sea or in the desert. This image is an example of Fata Morgana. In this photo, taken off the coast of Queensland, Australia, it looks as though the boat is hovering above the water. It's far in the distance with a clear horizon line. The footage taken in China was in the middle of a city at an angle too sharp for Fata Morgana to occur. What do you think? Is this an optical illusion, government testing, or a gateway to another world? Let us know in the comments section below.
The The Chicago UFO. In August 2016, a pilot took this footage on his phone while flying over Chicago, Illinois. It shows three balls of light hovering in the air beside the aircraft. They maintain a triangle formation and dramatically take off at extreme speeds below the aircraft.
These two clips come from a YouTube channel called Exploring Abandoned Mines. It's a group of enthusiasts that explore old, unused mines. The channel is not normally associated with paranormal happenings, but there are two clips where some very unusual activity is captured on film. The first one shows them exploring the Horton mine in Nevada, USA. At first the guy filming says the mine feels very unusual, like a strange energy is around. Then, climbing further into the abyss, he finds a chain swinging on its own back and forth. Then in the second clip we see the explorers descending into the Nicholas Eureka mine in California. Watching the whole clip, nothing obviously creepy happens, but on review at the 4:25 mark, while looking up the shaft ladder to the left, something very strange is lurking in the shadow. If you slow it down, it looks like the boot of someone climbing down the shaft.
Alien Interview Area 51. This footage surfaced in 1997. A man known only as Victor claims to have obtained this footage from the government. He says it's an interview with an extraterrestrial being in Area 51.
Alright, we're looking at the interview suite at S4. It's kept dark for the comfort of the aliens. I'm sorry. It's very hard for me to watch this.
This strange footage began circulating in December 2014. Supposedly taken in Dev Pavan Ghats in India, this video shows a man driving down a dark mountain road. Legends tell of a witch that has been spotted for over 200 years in the very mountains he's driving through. What he finds on the road is absolutely chilling.
The Florida Skunk Ape. Uploaded in January 2015, this clip was taken in Lettuce Lake Park, Tampa, Florida. The man who captured the footage initially thought he had spotted a bear and began filming. But when he later asked the park ranger about bears in the area, they said that they tend to stay away from swampy areas. If you take a closer look, it appears to have much longer arms than a bear and walks comfortably on its hind legs. Many say a hominid, cryptid creature known as a skunk ape roams the Florida area. It gets its name from the foul-smelling odor that it reportedly emanates. Numerous witnesses throughout Florida have reported seeing a big, hairy ape-like creature that runs on two legs. Could this be the fabled creature?
In 2009, a self-proclaimed prophet known as Yahweh demonstrated to an ABC News team that he can summon strange flying objects on command. The reporter begins the piece with an understandable skepticism, but before long the prophet Yahweh goes into some kind of prayer or trance. Then, right there in front of the reporter, a strange glowing orb appears in the sky.
Oh, brother, look at it, there it is.
You can barely see it, a white speck. Then, another sighting.
There it is, I got it.
But let's take a closer look here. It's an orange sphere that appeared out of nowhere.
What? See, it's coming up toward us. Whoa, man! Oh, hallelujah!
Ghost leaving body. There is very little information on this video. It appears to be some security footage from an old school or possibly a hospital. It looks as though there is someone sleeping on the bed, but what the camera captures is terrifying.
This video was uploaded to YouTube in 2011. It's supposedly filmed in Fresno, California near Yosemite National Park. An elderly couple were having trouble with some trespassers on their property, so they decided to set up a camera. When they reviewed the footage, they had no idea what they had captured. Bonus time! Huge shout out to Danger Dolan for helping out with this one. It was an absolute blast working with him. Now head on over to his channel now to watch 8 creepy things caught on security camera. We feature in it. The links are in the description box below.
Fresh pantalones, please. I seem to have soiled myself.
As always, thanks heaps for watching. Hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed Danger Dolan in this countdown. Remember to follow us on Facebook and Twitter for daily slapped ham antics. And this is the slapped ham shining warm.
How you doing? I'm Callan and this is Slapped Ham. Today we're looking at some chilling ghost footage. From an enraged entity that tears apart a kitchen to 2 little girls that burst into tears at seemingly nothing. Join us as we take a look at some extreme poltergeist activity caught on camera.
YouTuber Mallow Bird has been documenting poltergeist activity in his house for years. He believes a destructive spirit resides within his home. Around 8 years ago, he began uploading eerie videos that seem to show an entity throwing objects around the house. Here you can see a static camera that's been left to film the kitchen. Random objects begin to fly around the room, a grill on the stovetop lifts up, some cans and bottles flip over, and the cupboard doors inexplicably open and close. The camera flickers as a strange blue bar appears on screen. For 1 minute 25, objects get violently thrown around the room. One of the more startling objects to move is a basket of cutlery. Knives and forks fly every which way. The interesting thing about this clip is that it would be incredibly hard to stage. A lot of skeptics always claim wire is used with these sort of videos. However, with this one, objects go flying on all different angles. Doors flap open and close, multiple items fling across the room at the same time. It would take a lot of work and timing to pull it all off without looking suspicious. There are loads of fascinating ghost videos on Mallow Bird's channel. If you want to check them out, there's a link in the description box below. This video was posted to YouTube in 2013 by a channel called bscotty321. The iPhone footage shows a little girl having her dinner. After her dad leaves the room, she appears to communicate with someone or something. At first it seems possible she's just playing around and talking to an imaginary friend. However, when a napkin moves all by itself, the little girl says, "That's Billy's dinner."
That's Billy's dinner.
The owner of the channel posted the video saying that he had no idea who the girl was talking to or how the napkin moved. They were hoping someone could offer a logical explanation, but it would appear that no one can fully explain this footage. Could this little girl's imaginary friend be a poltergeist that she regularly communicates with? Love to hear your thoughts in the comments section below. Here's another YouTube channel that's been documenting a poltergeist haunting in their house. In 2011, a man by the name of Philip Shapiro heard some strange noises coming from his basement. The occurrences had been happening for a while, so he decided to start filming them. In the clip, Shapiro walks into his basement to investigate a strange tapping sound. As he gets to the bottom of the stairs, a commotion can be heard behind him in the kitchen. He turns and runs to see what it was. Right where he'd been standing just seconds earlier is a tower of chairs stacked strangely on top of one another. The ceiling light swings eerily in the background. When it was first uploaded to YouTube, experts were stunned at the footage. How is it that chairs could be stacked like that so fast with so little sound? The wider community was also shocked, with the video racking up nearly 1 million views and over 1,200 comments, all speculating on the footage. This clip first appeared on LiveLeak several years ago. Two girls are singing for the camera when something strange starts happening. First, the door slowly swings open, then a bottle of water gets swiped off the desk before the door violently slams shut. They both scream for their dad and run out of the room. Dad! A lot of commentators have noted that this clip bears a striking resemblance to a clip shared a few years prior, where two Australian girls are also singing for the camera when their door swings open. Their bottle of water also flies across the room and the door slams shut. Could this just be a copycat, or are there poltergeist entities that react to certain pitches of singing? This is some CCTV footage taken in an office in Indonesia's capital, Jakarta. It shows a man going about his workday when suddenly strange things start to happen around the room. First, a strange black shadow appears above the man. Then a chair begins to move on its own. A bottle of water gets thrown off the desk. Finally, another chair begins to move, this time falling over. The employee is so frightened that he runs out of the room. What do you think is going on in this Indonesian office? Is it an elaborate hoax, or is there something more sinister at play here? This is some creepy footage that aired on an unknown Japanese talk show. A little girl tells her mother that she can see the ghost of her grandpa standing behind her. She points and says he's there. The woman holding the camera turns to take a look, but there's nothing to be seen. Once again, the little girl says there's something standing behind the camera. This time the footage zooms in on a mirror in the background. In the reflection, you can see a shadowy entity standing at the rear of the room. Then, when the camera turns, a full apparition of a man standing in front of the camera can be seen. While live streaming, YouTuber Rubsy caught something truly chilling. It's alleged that Rubsy was minding his friend's cat when he encountered some poltergeist activity while live streaming Skyrim on his PS4. He ran several streams while staying at his friend's place, but nothing particularly odd happened. However, on one particular stream, weird things started to occur. As he's chatting to his friends on voice chat and text, a door opens behind him. It then slams shut. He gets frightened and people in the chat begin to react. Suddenly, a light inexplicably turns on and off right in front of the camera. The chat room lights up as Rubsy investigates what's going on. Over the course of the night, the door continues to open and close. The light flickers on and off, and a box on the table even flies across the room.
It's not like we needed any sleep or
Rubsy's reactions appear to be genuine. With each chilling occurrence, he looks honestly startled. The weirdest part is as the haunting progresses over the night, he gets strangely used to it and doesn't leave the apartment, which could hint at a hoax. However, in a follow-up video, Rubsy talks about his experiences and even goes back to the apartment for a second stream. After the first stream was uploaded to YouTube, it gained a fair amount of exposure and thousands of requests rolled in asking if he'd go back and live stream in the house. It's this second stream, coupled with his explanation, that makes this haunting seem genuine. Rubsy says he felt awful prior to entering the apartment. He left it to the last minute before entering and didn't want to go in. Shortly after setting up his equipment and going live, the door behind him begins to open and close just like the first time. This time, however, Rubsy is noticeably shaken. He looks scared and his demeanour is off. In his explanation, he talks about trying to communicate with the entity. Several people in the chat suggested he say that he comes in peace and just wants to help. At this point, Rubsy says he went completely numb. He couldn't feel his face or hands. He even says he blacked out and doesn't remember what happened for several minutes. The last thing he remembers is coming to in front of the banging door. On the verge of tears, he apologises to the stream and says he has to leave immediately. Rubsy has since said that he'll never go back to the apartment no matter what he's offered. If you want to watch the full haunted stream or check out what else Rubsy has been up to, you can suss his YouTube channel. There's a link in the description box below. In this video diary, a man is investigating some strange noises. He walks about the house, checking rooms, looking for any evidence of the noise. Finally, he asks the spirit to show itself and all hell breaks loose. A loud bang goes off, the entire kitchen gets destroyed. Shelves, drawers and chairs are thrown about the room, the house alarm manically rings out. The curtains are mangled, paper and food are strewn about the floor. His friend lies in agony, writhing about on the ground. They both quickly run to the car and drive away. This chilling little clip shows the moment a young boy was caught levitating a metre above his bed. A terrified mother runs to her child's aid when she hears screams coming from the bedroom. As she runs into the room, you can see her son eerily floating above the bed. Then the camera drops suddenly to the ground. The video claims that the footage is being studied to better understand the nature of paranormal activity. The problem with this clip, and many commentators have already pointed this out, is that a mother wouldn't run and get a camera if she heard the distressed screams of her child. This errs the footage on the side of suspicious more than anything else. The visuals are very convincing though, which makes some believe this footage is genuine evidence of a poltergeist haunting. This is a terrifying clip uploaded to YouTube in 2012. Two girls are sitting having a snack when one of them becomes unsettled. She points to the darkened laundry and says she sees something. She's clearly freaked out and keeps insisting that something is there. Her friend or perhaps sister laughs it off, saying there's nothing there. Even the mum insists that there's nothing behind them. But surely enough, the girl is driven to tears and runs to her mum's side. It's what happens next that will surely give you chills. In the second half of the clip, the girl who said that there was nothing there turns to have another look. This time she pauses and lets out an awful scream. She sees something standing there and immediately bursts into tears.
Turn around, turn around. But you gotta listen to me. Turn around, look at me. What's the matter?
It's not known what the girls see as the camera doesn't pick anything up. Some say children are more susceptible to seeing spirits or entities that others can't perceive. Is a ghost lurking in the shadows trying to make contact with these girls? This tense 46-second clip captures the moment a young boy is dragged off the couch by some unseen force. As he sleeps on the lounge, he begins to be pulled by the feet. The entity is so strong it drags the boy right off the couch and along the carpet. It eerily pulls at him, pauses for a moment, then pulls him along once more. Some skeptics think it's nothing more than a doll being dragged with wire, while others think the little boy is in a trance and couldn't wake up even if he wanted to. What do you think, real or fake? Let us know in the comments section below.
Well that was a little bit terrifying. Now as I mentioned earlier, if you want links to any of the clips shown in today's video, they're all in the description box below. Remember to leave us a comment if you're enjoying our content, we love reading them. And that's it for me, I'll see you all next time. Pew!
Slap ham.
5 real clown stories that'll give you nightmares. Let's face it, no one likes clowns. The once lovable entertainers have over decades transformed into symbols of pure terror. Usually and thankfully they're only the subject of horror films, but the following 5 real life clown stories will give you chills. Wrinkles the Clown caught on CCTV. This creepy clown known as Wrinkles has been turning up all over Florida. He's been spotted near train stations, by the side of the road, and in parks and playgrounds, terrifying anyone nearby. The man behind the mask is 65-year-old Joel Mason from Collier County. He's a sort of nightmare for hire. One mother recently hired Wrinkles to scare her 12-year-old boy straight. Wrinkles stood across the road from the young boy and stared at him while he waited for his morning bus. The boy started crying in front of his friends and ran home. If that's not creepy enough, here's some CCTV footage of Wrinkles that went viral in late 2014. Greenwood Cemetery Clown. This clown spawn of Satan has been spotted lurking in the Greenwood Cemetery in Brooklyn. He haunts the grounds carrying a fistful of balloons, standing silently amongst the graves. Security has never been able to catch him. The Jacksonville Clown Sightings. These 3 unsettling sightings in Jacksonville, Florida are enough to make you sell your home and get the hell out of there. Over several months in 2014, a series of bizarre clown sightings began happening across Jacksonville. These horrifying clown hauntings were captured on CCTV systems that the residents had installed in the front of their homes. The first piece of footage shows a clown dressed in red wander up the path uninvited to a home. He lingers there for a moment, just staring. Then weeks later, another home captured footage of a clown eerily staring up at the camera before ripping a pumpkin to pieces. Then yet another clown was spotted loitering on a property for no reason whatsoever. He lights up his face with electronic lights, then wanders back out onto the street. Unsolved clown murder. On May 26, 1990, Marlene Warren answered the door to find a clown standing in front of her with flowers and balloons. The clown raised a gun and shot her once in the face. Marlene's son Joseph heard the gunshot and ran downstairs. He discovered his mother lying dead in a pool of blood. Outside the home, Joseph could see the clown turn to look at him for a moment before getting into a car and speeding off. The 2 major suspects of the crime are Marlene's husband Michael Warren and Sheila Keene, who allegedly had an affair with Mr. Warren. The pair have been linked with several motives, including a hefty life insurance payout, plus the ownership of several properties in a car dealership business. To this day, though, no one knows why a clown was involved in the murder. The case remains unsolved. John Wayne Gacy is Pogo the Clown. This notorious serial killer known as Pogo the Clown would entertain children at charity events by day, then brutally murder young boys by night. John Wayne Gacy was an American serial killer and rapist from Cook County, Illinois, who murdered at least 33 teenage boys between 1972 and 1978. Typically, he would lure the young men back to his house by force or deception before strangling or stabbing them. Gacy buried 26 bodies in the crawl space of his home. Then, when he ran out of room beneath his house, he was forced to discard the last 4 victims in the Des Plaines River. Gacy was convicted of 33 murders and spent 14 years on death row before being executed by lethal injection on May 10, 1994. Clowns, no thank you. As always, thanks heaps for watching. Hit that thumbs up button if you don't want to be brutally murdered by a clown. Remember to follow us on Twitter, Facebook and all those other social diddly-bops for daily Slaptam antics. And this is the Slaptam signing off.
How you doing? I'm Callan and this is Slaptam. Today we're talking about the creepiest urban legends, from the Denver airport conspiracy to a ghostly call to a talkback radio show. We count 5 of the creepiest urban legends from around the world. And today we have very special guest Chills to help us out with this list.
This photo is attached to one of Australia's most pernicious urban legends. On June 9, 1979, the Godson family were waiting at Circular Quay for the ferry to take them to Sydney's famous amusement centre, Luna Park. While waiting, a mysterious person dressed in a white cowhide mask with long horns approached the family. The figure placed a hand on the shoulder of 6-year-old Damien. The family assumed he was a busker, so they took this photo. The figure said nothing and walked off into the crowd. Later that night at exactly 10 PM, a terrible fire ripped through the ghost train ride at Luna Park. The entire Godson family were trapped and killed in the blaze. When the photo was released to the public, no one could identify the busker, nor was he ever seen again. Speculation ran rife as people suggested that the masked person was a ghostly omen, foretelling the tragic 1979 Luna Park fire.
Number 4. Ghostly call to radio show, Malaysia. It's said that a famous radio show in Malaysia in the mid-90s received a call that the producers and DJ will never forget. At the time, the radio station hosted a late-night talkback segment that invited listeners to call in with their creepiest ghost stories. One night, a caller regaled his creepiest story. He said that he had been driving along a dark highway late at night. His wife and baby were sound asleep in the car. He too felt drowsy as he drove along the black stretch of road. In the distance, a single headlight could be seen approaching at speed. As it got closer and closer, it looked like it was going to hit the car head on. He swerved as an enormous truck flew past, the tailwind rocking the car. The man continued to drive down the road. Again, in the distance, a single headlight approached head-on. The light flickered to high beam, blinding the man as it sped past once more, narrowly missing the car. Barely a minute had passed when the headlight appeared for a third time. Terrified, the man tried to pull over to safety, but this time another single headlight flashed in his rear-view mirror. He swerved, crashing through the cement barrier of road, smashing into the grassy gully below. The caller ended his story. He paused for a moment, then said he missed his wife and daughter, but that it was for the best that they all died together. He then hung up the call. The radio host laughed, assuming that he had been trolled, and continued the show. The next morning, while having breakfast, the radio host glanced at the newspaper and went numb at what he read. There, on the front page, was an article about a young family that had been run off the road by a truck. Exactly like the story the night before, all 3 passengers had died. Leaving everything behind, the radio host rushed to the studio to replay the previous night's call. The entire interview was silent.
Since its construction in the early 1980s, the Denver International Airport has been surrounded by conspiracy theories and creepy urban legends. Many believe the airport is a ruse-like facade whose true purpose is only known by America's aristocratic elite. The rumors say that beneath the Denver International Airport is a gigantic doomsday bunker that is designed to keep only the purest of humanity safe from the apocalypse. While it's easy to dismiss these theories as utter nonsense, there is some alarming evidence that suggests the legends may hold some truth. Firstly, if you look from above, the intersecting runways of the airport form a swastika pattern on the desert landscape. Then there's the intense horse statue that some say represents the 4th horseman of the apocalypse, death. The 32-foot tall, 9,000-pound blue Mustang statue was created by artist Louis Jimenez. While in the studio, the head of the enormous statue fell on Jimenez, severing an artery in his leg, killing him almost instantly. Following the accident, friends of Jimenez continued his work. They completed the statue, which now stands starkly in the desert landscape, staring with its glowing red eyes. Surrounding the blue Mustang are strange man-made hills of dirt. These mountains are made from earth removed during construction of the airport. Many theorists have pointed out that the amount of soil is far larger than would normally be excavated during a construction of this type. They say the sheer volume of dirt suggests that a very deep hole was dug beneath the airport. Then inside the airport there is bizarre symbolism everywhere, from the Nazi-inspired murals to the Freemason plaque that refers to a New World Airport Commission that doesn't even exist. On the plaque, the date of dedication is March 19, 1994. If you add all those numbers up, 1 plus 9 plus 1 plus 9 plus 9 plus 4, you get 33. In Freemasonry, 33 represents perfection and is the highest level of achievement. So do these urban legends hold some truth? Are the Freemasons planning a new world order from the depths of a secret bunker beneath the Denver International Airport? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below.
Number 2. The Whitechapel Corpse Train, England. Throughout England, there are whispers of a disused train line in the London Underground. It's said that it runs from the Whitechapel Tube Station to the Royal London Hospital. It's known as the Dead Body Train. When the London Underground began construction in the latter half of the 19th century, morgues and hospitals were overflowing with dead bodies. It's at this time that the urban legend suggests that the local council approved a secret train line that was to ferry dead bodies from the Royal London Hospital to a giant temporary morgue right next to the Whitechapel station. Of course, this is all myth and hearsay. However, some stand by the claim. On District Dave's forum dedicated to the London Underground, there is a thread of people who claim that they've seen a bricked-up passageway in the Whitechapel station. It's thought that this is the entrance to the old abandoned rail line that allegedly transported thousands of corpses away from London's busiest hospital all those years ago.
The creepiest part of this urban legend from Japan is that there is historical evidence that it really happened. Hidobashira is a ritual formerly practiced in Japan that involved human sacrifice. People would be buried alive in or near buildings of significant meaning like dams, bridges and castles. The practice was thought to appease the gods to minimize harm caused by natural disasters like floods and storms. Legends are divided as to who was used for the sacrifice. Some say that beautiful handmaidens were used as offerings, others say that large numbers of peasants who were kept in inhumane conditions were killed in the ritual. Traditionally, Hidobashira is supposed to inspire the Japanese population with the spirit of self-sacrifice. Some speculate that this could be the reason why the rate of suicide is so high in Japan. Historical landmarks that are thought to have had Hidobashira instilled in their foundations are Maruoka Castle, one of Japan's oldest fortifications. One of the pillars within the ancient building is said to be filled with bodies. Another is Matsue Ohashi Bridge, believed to have had human sacrifices built into its base. A nearby memorial called Gensuki is testament to the people who lost their lives during the bridge's construction. Historians say that the barbaric practice stopped many centuries ago, however construction workers often, to this day, find human remains embedded in the walls of buildings. One terrifying example is the Jomon Tunnel, located in the Sekuhoku main line in Hokkaido. In 1968, after a terrible earthquake, several skeletons were found buried upright in the walls of the tunnel. So next time you visit Japan, remember you might be just meters from sealed up corpses at any given time. And who knows, if you take a wrong turn down a dark alleyway, you might just find yourself the target of Hidobashira.
Now I want to give a huge shout out to Chills for helping out with this list. If you've never heard of Chills or seen his channel, he does some of the creepiest lists on the internet. I highly recommend you check him out. There's a link in the description box below. Well, there's another episode in the can. Thank you so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, hit that thumbs up button. Leave us a comment down below. Also, remember to check out Chills' channel. It's the creepiest stuff going round. And that's it for me. I'll see you all next time.